Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu mavid vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So Geeta, do you want to chant the Gita Dhyanam?
Om Partaya Pradib. Oh, what are we? Om Partaya Pradibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Puranamunina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadasadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandadami Bhagavad Gita Bhavatveshini.
Suvarna. Yeah, Suvarna, if you want to do it.
Namostu te Vyasa-vishala-buddhe Fullaravindayata-patra-netra Yena tvaya bharata-taila-purnaha Prajvalito jnanamaya-pradipaha.
Very good. Excellent. Who wants to go next?
प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृततुके नमः।
वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् सर्वधर्मां परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः.
Excellent. Thank
Did
you
you
so
skip
much.
few
You
of
all
them?
were so spontaneous. Huh?
Did you skip few of them?
No.
No, I didn't. We just do 4 of them every day,
Okay,
right?
okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So last week, we basically talked about how our vision of what we do every day, okay? Every day, we all get into our schedules and everything, and we do based on how our own prarabdha is pushing us to do things, correct? But last week, we talked about how when our vision of how we do things, what we do, the attitude with which we do, when it aligns with Ishvara's vision, then there is harmony, there is peace, and really there is no stress at all. So, in this regard, we had discussed about how Krishna is telling Arjuna, just do your duty. That's all that I'm expecting of you. You know, don't keep questioning, why should I do this? Why should I not do this? And oh, this person is so bad. How can I do this for that person? All that, right? And Krishna actually tells Arjuna about the fact that, I have basically taken care of your most difficult challenges. Okay. Of course, he doesn't say this in the beginning of the chapter. In the first chapter, you see Arjuna crying and all that. And in the second chapter, Krishna launches into the highest philosophy, but he doesn't tell him really what his role is, what Krishna's role is. He just says, the karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Just keep on doing your duty. Don't expect any phala from anything. just do it, right? The Nike ad, just do it. That's what he says. Now, here, he basically tells him that I have taken care of every problem of yours. The biggest one, which was really, I know, Arjuna, Krishna is telling Arjuna, I know that you're probably worried that, you have all this Duryodhana, then of course you have your teachers, all of them are there, and you're feeling afraid that you are killing them, that you're going to create a sin. But let me tell you, I have taken care of that. And he shows him that vision, right? He shows him that vision on where he says, Dronam cha, Bhishmam cha, Jayadram, Karna, all of them, I have already killed the Maya Hatam Tvam, so all I need to do, you need to do is go and kill literally their corpses. That's what he says, they are already dead. All you're doing is that you're killing something which is on its way out. Okay. It's like, many of our cars, we know it is on its way out, but we keep on making it run, right? So something like that. So he does that. So I thought, in today's reflection, the last two, we closed last week by let us saying, how do these two words in the shlokas 34 and 35, how does it play a part for us? This nimitta matram bhava savya sachin bhava. Be an instrument in my hands. That's all Krishna is saying. Be an instrument in my hands. And how difficult is it for us to be an instrument? Krishna is telling Arjuna, be an instrument, just shoot them down, But for us, it is not that easy. Why is it not easy? What can we do to get this philosophy into our head? Because in second chapter, he gave us, how we should lead our life. In the 11th chapter, once Arjuna has gained the maturity, he tells him and shows him that how this work is already being done. The whole world is like, a matrix where everything has its own place, everything is moving in its own place. And we, as a small individual in this entire universe, if we could only see that my part is to do what I have come here for. So my question to all of you is, how can I truly recognize that I'm an instrument? What is stopping me from recognizing this? Because if we do this, if we truly understand this phrase, I tell you, there is no other happiness or peace that what we are trying to achieve in our material world, we can get from this whole thing.
Hari Om.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay, Geeta. Go ahead.
No, I have a question. See, I thought, see, you were just saying we should know why we are in this world, why we are born here. But how do we know why we are born? What is our role? How do we know?
By just sitting and reflecting on it, actually, by slowing down. We are always doing. Like I recently, Guruji was here and he was talking about Narada Bhakti Sutra, and one of the sutras, I think it was 78 or something, where he said, we believe that we have to be keep on doing. That's how we think our life is all about. But he said, no, your life is about being. You got to be the person. Now, how do I be the person is to actually slow down my doing and taking time off to reflect upon it. In some ways, I think that's probably why in the corporate, in America, we just take a week off, go to Florida or Alaska or Hawaii and all those things. But then what do we do even when we go there? We take the phone and we're constantly punching and we're doing things. So that is one way, is just to slow down every day, take 10 minutes off, calm my mind down. We are not calming our mind down enough. That's probably what I would say.
So I am rephrasing the question. We are born in this world for a purpose. Okay. How do we know for what purpose we are here? Is that by reflecting?
By reflecting, by studying, by listening. Like, for example, the very fact, Geeta, even this question has come to you, you know, how do I know my purpose? It's only because you have taken the time to listen to something higher than what you do on a daily basis, correct? That is almost the very first step. Now you have to take a little bit time to maybe even take this nimitta matram. What does it mean to be an instrument? You can write it down. You can, I mean, people are different in different ways. Some people like to take a notebook and reflect upon this question. The first day, you know, you're just writing it down and nothing comes to a head because our mind is in a different sphere, right? The second day, look at the question and think a little more on what does that word instrument mean to me. Then take the second step to understand how am I an instrument. You know, as you start going deeper and deeper, you will see that the brain cells are opening up actually. And I start to seriously think, wait a minute, what am I doing here? So it's a little difficult thing to do, but that's probably what I would say.
Okay. So if we reflect and we realize that we have to do certain thing, that is to achieve our goal, still why are we doing the same thing which we do every day?
Some
The
of them we
routine.
do it. Some of them we do it because they have to be done. Like for example, in our
Nitya karma.
scriptures we have nitya karmas, right?
Nitya karma, sorry.
And then we have the naimitika karmas too, which also have to be done actually because I'm part of the society. But if I reflect upon a few more things, there are actions which are not needed to be done. I'll give you an example, you know, for example, things that destroys the environment, consciously or subconsciously. That we need to seriously think about today because we already know that environmental changes, climate change, all that is happening. Why is it happening? It's mainly think about, you know, where I'm living. Am I consuming too much of goods? Am I driving too fast on the road? Am I, you know, did I say something which I probably should not have said? So there are so many of those things. Those are actions too.
So just by reflecting more and more and more.
Reflecting, satsang, being in the company of like-minded people who think like me, because I can be in a company of different people and I may get attracted to some things which subconsciously the mind may allow me to go there. So to prevent that, I stay in company of like-minded people.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And studying and listening, yes. Yeah, go ahead, Suvarna.
Hari Om. Nimittara matram. That is something that is definitely something I, from my point of, from where I'm coming from is it, unfortunately I come across that phrase, or I keep thinking of it when something is not going my way and I have no control over it, and that's when the realization hits that this is all nimitta matra, that is where. But my goal is to understand that it's not just in those circumstances. Every circumstance is such that everything is nimitta matram, everything is in God's hand. I have yet to come there, but I understand that when something is when the situation whatever that the is situate mainly is a situation when it is beyond me,
Right,
when
right.
there's nothing I can do about it, and
So
everything
the
I'm
thing
doing
is, yeah,
is going haywire, and it's not towards the solution, but it's not getting to, I'm not getting the solution. That's when this nimitta matra, oh my God, this is
right. So the thing is,
so
then the question is, we should start to do this when things are going well.
exactly that.
In every action, that it is that I am just an instrument. Ishvara is taking care of the world. Ishvara is taking care of the
Yes,
world.
yes.
I am only an instrument.
These lectures, like you said, we have to listen repeatedly. Listening to these does help. That I'll definitely agree with, because it has kind of made me realize that I have to apply it to every situation. Am I doing it or not? I'm not yet there, but I'm consciously making an
Right.
effort to remember. Am I applying it? I'm not there yet, but I'm at least trying to remember that every situation
Yeah.
is the same. So that's where I'm at.
Any other thoughts for Geeta's question on
Hari Om.
how do I understand the? Yes, go ahead, Meena.
What is the meaning of Savai Sachin? Savai
Sabya Sachin, this
Satyasach.
is
What?
referring, yeah, this is actually referring to Arjuna.
Mm.
Arjuna, just to show the ambidexterity of, it's a term for Arjuna. He is the Sabya Sachin is,
Savyasach.
yeah, he could use both his right hand and left hand very easily in the war, so he was
Mm.
such a efficient person.
Wari. Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So Nimitta
So,
Matram is actually the focus of today's questioning.
yeah. So the question that you asked, we know that nothing is in our hands. I mean, the question that you asked, I'm answering to that.
Yeah.
So we know we are just the instrument and everything is Ishvara.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, everybody knows that. But when it comes to small failure or disappointment, then we totally forget about that. Oh no, why this is happening to me? Why Lord Krishna is not taking care of me or something like that. We,
Right.
from the bottom of our mind, we know everything is, but sometimes even small failures or disappointments or whatever it is, then it totally goes out of the mind. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So that is why when good things are happening, also I completely bow down and be grateful that this is how it was meant to happen, and therefore I'm receiving the fruit of whatever has happened. And that
Mm.
is probably why in the second chapter he's saying, forget about the fruits, because that fruit will happen based on everything coming together, right?
Okay. Mm.
I mean, in simple things, we see that. I mean,
Mm.
I'm just going to use a very simple age-old example.
Mm.
Um, if I have to make vadams or whatever, and in those olden days, they used to make these thin things and then
Mm.
put it on the terrace. And depending upon the heat of that day, depending upon the sun, those things can dry so quickly. But if the slight amount of the sunlight is not enough, or there's too much of humidity, that's not going to happen. So everything has to come together for a certain
Mm.
action to happen, correct? And that
Yeah.
is how it is with what you just said. When some things don't go well,
Mm.
it is my part in that whole thing is only a small part. There are so
Mm.
many other things that have to come together in order for something to go well. And so the
Mm.
result of um, anything, the result of the whole composite action is dependent upon all the components, not just my effort, right?
Yeah.
So,
Got it. And this is a very powerful word, I think, nimitta matra.
yes, Nimitta Matram, you will see this very often used in many, many lectures that you might listen. And again, I bring that this is tied to the second chapter, Karma Yoga. Here,
Okay.
Krishna is taking Arjuna to the next level of understanding. In the second chapter itself, he could have told when Arjuna was so, despondent.
He was not in a position to understand.
Exactly. He was not in a position at that time to understand it all. So it's exactly like how we treat our children, right? When a child is small, we give them certain instructions. The simple thing, that instruction that is always talked about is, don't go towards a fire. Do you think the child is going to understand that, oh, if you put your hand there, it's going to get hot, your finger is going to get burnt? You just say, no, don't go there. And this is exactly what Krishna is using as the advice here too. In second chapter, he just tells him, Karmani, just do your duty, buddy. He just tells him, Now in the 11th chapter, he's explaining why,
Okay.
And even then, it is still very powerful, because here he's saying that, I've taken care of everything for you, Arjuna. Why are you crying, or why are you worried? So that part of it is really in this 11th chapter. He's showing this about the second aspect of this Karma Yoga. And this one, the next one, which I put out here also for reflection, Sthane. Sthane, which is, everything is exactly how it is meant to be. It's like sthanam, we talked about it last time. Sthanam, which is the stage, or uh, actually the stage is also a good word, because in the stage before, and I'm reminded of one of the Panchadasi chapters of Nataka Deepa, everything in the stage is set. The lights are on, the props are all in its place, and the actor or actors have to just come and do the duty. Correct? So much is going on in the backstage. So many, the music, the lights, all sound, the thunder, whatever, if it's a raining thing, scene that is being shown. So sthanam is also an important thing to recognize, that everything is happening the way it is supposed to. Everything is in its place. So let's not try to change dramatically everything, So anyway, this is so that is why he says, just be an instrument in my hands, and just do whatever has to be done. The Kauravas are going to get killed, mainly because of the amount of akramam that they did, right? They were really doing everything against dharma. It is a result of their own actions. And it is not because uh, Krishna's partial to Pandavas is not why they're going to be killed. They are killed because of their own actions, which is bearing fruit in the war. So that is why he says, Arjuna, whether you're going to get involved in this battle or not, guess what? These people are going to perish. So that is why I'm saying, he says, Yashaha Labasva. He says, so why don't you just do your duty, and guess what? You're going to get name and fame, everything being handed over in the platter for you. Just take it, buy one, get one free, Not only are you killing the Kauravas, but you're also getting all this name and fame. So just enjoy all this. Don't, don't cry about it, none of those. So that is how he's trying to really question, because he says, Maye Vaite Nita Purvameva. All these people have already been destroyed by me. It is their prarabdha karma, and let that happen. And therefore, ete purvameva nihitaha. Therefore, you do not require a big brahmastram. Simple bow and arrows, all that I'm asking you to take, and just do it. And that is why. And then in 34, is he finally shows him that. So I'm just recapping in 34 what we saw. And then we see that Sanjaya explains everything to Dhritarashtra. And Sanjaya, of course, also is a visionary, right? So he already can see ahead of time that Arjuna is going to be crowned king, So that's why he says, Kritanjaliha Vepamana Kiriti. He says, look, this Arjuna who is trembling now, who is the future king here, he is really now like shaken in his core, because Krishna has given him such a big vision, and he needs to really, you know, he needs, he just can't even take it, you know. So that's why he says, you know, Arjuna is just from Namah Kritva Bhuya Eva Hi Krishnam Satgatam Bhita Bhita Pranamya. He's just completely overwhelmed with this emotion. He's really completely, you know, he understands there is actually nothing else that he can do at this stage, because not only has Krishna answered all his questions over this 10, 11 chapters, we are almost in the towards the end of the 11th chapter. He's already done that, but Krishna has like opened up every part of Arjuna to experience a lot of those emotions. You know, he's gone through absolute wonderment. He's gone through a lot of fear. He really understands Krishna's role in this world. You know, he is the creator, he's a sustainer, but he's also the destroyer, which is what in the last part we've been seeing here, you know. So ultimately, Arjuna has nothing but he has his attitude of total surrender, complete bhakti, you know. So this is what, you know, and that's why he's just completely choked with that emotion. So from 36 onwards, now you see the third stage of Arjuna's, you know. So Arjuna is now responding to Krishna with that attitude of devotion and surrender. There is just nothing else left. It's almost like the final stage, even for us, you know, when we have lived this life, on how one can, at the end of the day, realize that there is nothing much that I'm doing. I am an instrument, and only thing I can do is be this thing. And that is where this 36 is, that Sthane Rishikesha Tava Prakritya, which is what, why this Arjuna finally recognizes that everything is in its place, you know, is that's why that's the word Sthane is used here. And he says it is but, you know, fitting that I sing, and not just, he recognizes at the end of the day that whether it is, you know, the good-minded people, um, which is Jagat Prahristya Anugrahitacha, the world takes great delight and rejoices. And the same uh, Krishna, the same Lord, the Rakshasas are filled with fear. And he says, you know, I'm just bowing down because I recognize that the Siddhas, you know, Siddha Sangraha, they now he recognizes why these people really bow down to Krishna. You know, he says, you know, and now I understand why great Mahatas appreciate you. And what is it that they're appreciating? It's not just the Ekarupa. It's not just Krishna as an individual, but Arjuna is seeing Krishna now as the Vishwarupa. He recognizes that there is something beyond this cowherd boy, this friend that he thought, you know. He says, now I can understand how these narrow-minded people are afraid of this Vishwarupa, that is Rakshasas. And in fact, you know, he recognizes within himself too how narrow-minded he was in thinking about how Krishna, you know, was. And he says, you know, that I myself have recognized now that I need to recognize you as something beyond this. Therefore, you know, he says, let me totally understand the role of Mahatmas. If they have understood your Vishwarupa, then how much I need to do it, you know. And that is where the word sthani we talked about. And then in 37, Arjuna continues his prayer to that Vishwarupa of Ishvara. And, you know, so he talks about how, you know, how that Vishwarupa has created that Brahma, you know, and how that Brahma could create several universes. So Ishvara has created several Brahmas, and therefore it is really important that we pray to that Ishvara who is the creator of Brahma himself. And then he goes one step even beyond the creator of the universe, because, the minute we think about the world, we always think about, okay, God is the one who created the universe, correct? Now, that God for us who created the universe is Brahmaji. And we know that there are many universes, or many this in this entire, or in this universe, there are many, many worlds, if you want, we can think about. So then uh, Arjuna goes even beyond that. He starts to say that, you are, he calls him as Sat and Asat Param. So what does that mean? Sat is, refers to the manifest world. So everything that I feel, touch, all that is manifest. But Asat refers to actually the unmanifest world, which is our own things, our own vasanas, our desires. So in many ways, you can think about Sat as a hardware, and Asat is something you cannot see, which is, all the software programs, all the things, but actually even beyond that, it's what drives those programs to function, to make the computer function, right? So all these things is the Sat and Asat. So he goes, so Arjuna actually describes Krishna in that thing, he says, Kasmachate na nameran mahatman, and why should they not bow down to you? He himself is now kind of justifying his own question and answer, Gariyase Brahmano yapi adikatre ananta devesha jagannivasa tvamaksharam sat asat param yat. So he says, why should they not bow down? O Krishna, you are so great. Gariyase. Gariyase means really great. Yeah. And you are that infinite being. O Ananta Devesha. Infinite. You're the Lord of Lords. You are that infinite Lord. You are the Jagannivasa. You are the abode of the universe. Tvam Aksharam Sat Asat Param. So you are that absolute imperishable. And you are beyond that, even the manifest and the unmanifest. So unmanifest is also a kind of a thing for us, just because you and I don't see it, that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So we discussed this last time too, if I have to create the phone existed in some form in the minds of the person who created that. So it was in an unmanifest form. And that is what he's trying to show here, that you are actually way beyond. So Kasmat, so here, he says, anyone who appreciates your glory, the totality, I'm doing namaskar to you. It's very, it comes so naturally. So bhakti is not something where it's a ritual, but bhakti is where that total surrender, total humility comes because of my complete, um, through understanding, I I understand the greatness of everything. Like, Einstein himself, has said, the more I study the creation, I cannot but surrender or appreciate the glory of the Lord. In fact, the more and more we see that totality in each and everything that we do, even when I'm using the mouse, I don't look at it as a mouse. I look at that mouse as a way for me to connect to so many things. So I go beyond the what uh, that thing is about. Like, for example, so if I just change my attitude on looking at anything not as its function or whatever, but its relation to many things, automatically we understand that the connectedness and humanity becomes very, very natural at that point. So that's why Arjuna is asking, why is it that people will not do namaskar to you? You are everything. You are the driver of the universe. You are the creator. You are everything. So I have to do this namaskaram to you, you know. So that's why he's saying, Nameran Mahatman. Why would, you know, this one? I have to nothing but do this all the time, you know. So that wonderment is what he's trying to explain here. And so this particular shloka that I came across is really beautiful, which, you know, is basically saying that the one who cannot appreciate literature, sahitya, and Sangeeta, Sahitya, Sangeeta, Kala, Vihinaha, those who cannot appreciate literature or music, you know, because this essentially means that one needs to have a very, very sensitive mind, right? So that person, Sakshat Pashuhu, he says such a person is like an animal. The only difference is what is that difference? Which is Pucha Vrishina Hina. That only thing is tails and horns are missing in a human being, you know, who doesn't appreciate all this. And the only difference from the cows is Trinana Kadanaha. Trinana Kadanaha Jiva Manaha Tat Bhaga Deyam Paraman Pashunam. You know, so the cows, he lives without, so the difference is he lives without eating grass. So that's the only difference. In fact, Pashus, you know, they feel happy that they have one less competitor. So therefore, if I do not have this music and this music is absent in my life, that what is the purpose of my having the ears? You know, so too, if I keep on saying, so the idea behind this is if I don't accept that there is Ishvara behind everything that is working, then what is the purpose of my life? You know, the purpose of a human being is to go beyond just the five senses that has been given, but to appreciate and understand Ishvara, the Vishwarupa, greatness of Ishvara itself. So therefore, you know, Kasmat Chate, why won't people become devotee? If they're really sensitive, they'll certainly become a devotee. And that sensitivity, you know, will be used towards talking about the glory of the Lord. So you are the cause, you are the effect, but you are also beyond that. You are the wielder of Maya, you know. So Sat and Asat is all part of Maya, but you are even beyond that. You can actually wield this, and that is why your Karya Karana Vilakshana, you are beyond the cause and effect of things. So that's the glory that he talks about, you know. And so even as, you know, we find Arjuna echoing all these words, right? In the beginning, like, you know, when you were all saying also about how this Gita lectures are really not just Gita, but everything that you listen and everything, it helps in our understanding, right? It becomes more and more clear. We ourselves are tailoring our lives in such a way that I can listen to more and more of this knowledge because we understand this knowledge is beyond the other kind of knowledge that we are using in our world to live a life. But this is even beyond that, right? So our understanding is becoming clear, and that is for Arjuna, even as he is echoing all these words, as you can see throughout, you know, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is not talking too much. It's actually Arjuna with whatever Krishna is telling him, he is now taking it into himself. He is reflecting upon it and he's speaking out. So even that last shloka, what we just saw, you know, he's the one who is now able to understand Krishna's role in the whole thing. So you can see how much he has graduated. You know, earlier he was thinking about Krishna as his friend, later Krishna as a charioteer, Krishna as his helper, but now he's going beyond that. So that is why, you know, he acknowledges his creative power and then he's starting to go even beyond here. So he says, you know, literally he's trying, in the previous verse, you know, he says, okay, you are the creator of the universes. You are also beyond the Sat and Asat, correct? Which he says. So now he's taking that concept even further, and he says, Tvam Adi Deva Purusha Puranaha, Tvamasya Vishwasya Param Nidhanam, Vetasi Vedyam Cha Param Cha Dhama, Tvaya Tatam Vishwam Ananta Rupa. So he says, ultimately, I cannot think of anybody much, much greater than you. You know, you are that absolute reality. You can call that absolute reality is Narayana if you wish. You can call it Brahman, you know. But that Brahman is the ultimate reality. So you are that primal God. You are that ultimate, you are the Adi Deva, you know. You are the primal God. Tvam asya vishwasya param nidhanam. So nidhanam is meaning that you are that final refuge. So the Sharanagati principle, you know, is basically based on that, right? You recognize that Narayana is the feet of Lord Narayana is the ultimate. So that's the idea behind the word Nidhanam. So you're the ultimate refuge, and since you will not undergo any change at all, you know, so I will select you as my ultimate because I know that it is not changing, it is not temporary, it is not indissolvable, none of those things. So that is why you are the Param Nidhanam. Then Vetasi Asya Vedyam Cha. So you are the knower and the thing to be known also. You know, in this world, we are constantly, you know, we are told that if we have to keep our memory and everything long lasting as we grow older, we are told that you have to be continuously a learner, you know, keep on learning new things. They say to keep your brain active. So here, you know, this shloka is saying that ultimately you are the knower. So if I can spend my, later part of my life trying to understand and reflect upon ultimately what is it that really needs to be known and what is it, who is that knower? So that's why he says, so he's the knower and he's also to be known. So that, and then by the tvaya, by you, tatam vishwam ananta rupa. So Arjuna has really, you know, understood that entire philosophy, and he is bowing down with complete humility, saying that ultimately you are the abode, you are the one who's all pervading, you are that infinite. That so in this last shloka and here, you can see how Arjuna is now giving all this descriptions of that ultimate reality, you know. So his vision, his understanding, and his understanding of vision is like completely changing here. And he says, Purushaha, you are, I'm just picking up one or two of the words from here. You know, he says, Purushaha, you are that all-pervading one. And Purusha means, actually, it has two meanings, you know, Purayati Sarvam Iti Purushaha, the one who's all-pervading. And the second one is the one who resides in the body. Puru means body and Shaha means this indweller. So Purusha means you are the one who is dwelling in every body, indicating again that the entire world is nothing but you and you alone, you know, and you are also all pervading. That's the aspect of the word Purusha. And again, it's the aspect for him is, you know, and then he is also Puranaha, Purushaha, Puranaha. You're the most ancient, you're the one without a beginning, you know, and Tvamasya Vishwasya Param Nidhanam, we said, you are the refuge of dissolution, destruction, everything. You are the one in which the whole creation actually goes in, you know, you are the Layasthanam, Prayasthanam, you know, that part of it. And that is why you are ultimate. And again, not only are you the Bhokta, but you're also the Bhogyam, you're the this, and then you're Param Dhamma, we saw that, and you are Tvam Tatam Vishwam Anantarupam. So the entire universe is pervaded by you. So then moving on to Shloka 39, um, Arjuna has, of course, understood that the source of the entire nature's power, nature is nothing but Ishvara. So not only is he existence, which the last shlokas were teaching, here were showing, but he is the essence, the power, So he saw, he says, like Param Nidhanam, and he says Purusha, all these words to show that Ishvara is there in every form of nature and is reciting the precise deities also. So he now starts to name all those deities, like, Vayu, Yama, Vayu, who is a lord of wind, who sustains all the living beings, then Yama, who's a lord of death, and then Agni, the lord of fire, who provides energy. Then you have Varuna, the lord of life-giving the water, and then Shashanka, the moon, who nourishes all plant and herbs. So he's giving again, he's thinking about, okay, how is Ishvara manifested in the world? So he's not really taking them as trees and birds and everything, which are the effects. He's now showing the power behind all this. It's actually, to me, there's just so much of science behind these shlokas, Today, when we take our science textbooks, we break them up into physics, chemistry, and maybe astronomy, and those things which are really much 2 or 3 levels down. He's starting from where the whole science really starts. So that greatness is what he's showing here. Vayuhu Yamaha Agnihi Varunaha Shashankaha. So you are Vayu, you are Yama, you are that Agni, you are that Varuna, you are that moon. In just one word, the entire science is taken care of. And then he says, you are the Prajapatihi Tvam uh, and Prapitamahacha. You are that Prajapati, and then you are the great grandfather. And then Namaha Namaha Te Astu Sahasra Kritva. It's not just one namaskaram. He's saying, I cannot but help, keep on doing this namaskara again and again and again. Any amount I do, it is not enough here. Punaha cha bhuyaha api namaha namahate. And again and even again, salutations and salutations. So first, if you want to look at the way he's saying namaha namaha and then again namaha namaha, you can see that, first he's doing namaha to all the forces of nature, which for us, we can understand behind everything. Like, for example, I can feel the wind, I can feel the Agni, I can feel the water, I can see the effect of the moonlights. So he's like, okay, I'm going down to you because you are all that, Then the next one is the Prajapati and the great grandfather, which is basically, we call this as the level of Hiranyagarbha. So Hiranyagarbha is that uh, unmanifest part of this, which is going to be manifest, So it's the grandfather or the great grandfather. That is why he says great grandfather, Before something comes, somebody was there before. So the second Namaha is for that part. And then the causal level is the cause of things, we say. So the cause for any of us, any of the thing is at the desire level, or even that aspect which leads to a desire. So at that causal level. And finally, the last Namaha is at the absolute causeless level. So until you have the cause and you have the effect, you are part of this manifest and unmanifest. which we saw, the Sat Asat Param, he says, you're the great, you are that creator of Asat and Sat. Now he's also saying the causeless level of Brahman, So he's saying you are the essence of, essentially he's trying to say, you're the essence of the whole universe at this one. So you are alone in the form of Akasha, Agni, Vayu, Apaha, and all that. And that is, it's actually, in Brahma Sutra, there is one section which is totally based on this part of it, which is given here. So it's an Adhikarana, and that is what he's saying that, And finally, coming to shloka number 40, we'll try to finish that too. We have another 3 minutes. So now he's coming to a point where, again, another amount of, he's just salutations going down. As I said, this stage of where Arjuna is speaking is all about his humble surrender, completely humble surrender. Again, he starts with Namaha. Namaha Purastat, Namaha Purastat, Prishtas, Prishtas Tirte. So not only, again, we had seen something, where in one of the shlokas he talks that that Lord is in all corners, so he says salutations to thee from the front and also from behind, So trying to say that, all this time I could only see what is in front of me. Now I can see what is even behind everything, behind everything, in the sense, the creation did not just come just like that. There was something behind everything that is happening. So that is why he says, Atha Prishtahate Namaha Astute Sarvataha Eva Sarva. So everything is just you and you alone. And Ananta Virya, you are infinite in power. And Amita Vikramahatvam, you are not only infinite in your power, but you're also in your strength, in your Viryam, you are completely immeasurable. I cannot even put a certain amount of, I'm just going to use some physical term, physics, in PSI or, those words. I cannot even tell you how strong you are, Sarvam sam apnoshi tatah asi sarvaha. So you are the one who's pervading everything. So he feels, Arjuna is like, this, in his mind, there's no more any doubt, there's no more any confusion. It's only filled completely with humility and this sense of total gratitude which is coming into him, So he's just offering namaskar after namaskar after namaskar, and he just says, you are the greatest and you have the infinite power, strength, everything, nothing can come beyond this. So who am I really trying, who do I need to look up to anymore? You are that, you are everything, So again, for us too, right, this is such a powerful thing to say that it is that Ishvara who's in front of me, who's that Ishvara behind me. He's taking care of my back. I mean, if you have to use this shloka in that sense, he takes care of my back. I don't have to worry about anything. He is the most powerful one. So what am I running for name and fame and everything, which I think is going to give me the strength. So I just go down to him and I just have him in my life and I move on. So with that, we finish the shlokas of where he is just so grateful. Next week, we'll take this shlokas where, uh, Arjuna is sort of feeling very bad, if you want to say it that way, because so far, he never really um, gave Krishna the credit that he richly deserves. he's been thinking about Krishna only as a friend, as a cowboy, as a playmate, and all that. And, he kind of feels bad that, maybe he said something in the past which he hurt Krishna's feelings and all that. So we will see that next week. Okay. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.